Welcome to the Phil Steele Tour, Phil Steele Plus Tour for Championship Weekend. And up for you today, I've got your selections, quick hitters, and FCS plays for you. Quick recap of yesterday, or of last week, I should say. Very nice week here for the Tour. 5-0 on the selections. You had to love that. But I will mention, we did give out a guaranteed week on the Inside the Press Box, and unfortunately, my best bets on Inside the Press Box did not have a winning week. So everybody that purchased last week's Inside the Press Box gets this week's Inside the Press Box absolutely free. Disappointing week for the best bets on the Press Box. Good season, but disappointing week last week. But I'd like to tell you what happened the previous week, win or lose. And as far as the Tour goes, that 5-0 week last week brings our record to 26-12, 68% over the last 8 weeks here on the Tour. Now, I've only got one selection for you this week, but hopefully it's a good one. Got 2 quick hitters, also have an FCS play. Guys, there's only 10 games out there. I can't put a play out on every game. But let's take a look at this first matchup, and it's App State against Troy. Now, as you know, the Tour's last 4 weeks, AGG Game of the Week, when we're using an underdog, is now 4-1 the last 5 weeks. Or 4-1, I should say, on the season for the last 4 weeks. And last week, a great winner with NC State over North Carolina, a game we led from start to finish as the underdog. Well, this week we go back to a dog again, and as you can tell, we're looking at App State against Troy. Now, the first thing I want to point out is when you go to the last 4 weeks, App State's playing really good right now, playing at 110 level. Troy is playing at 106.2. Even if you give Troy a 3-point home edge here, that still says App was rated the stronger team by 0.8. And they are a 6-point dog for this game. So they classify as a dog, a 6-point dog. The last 4 weeks likes them. And keep in mind, the last 4 weeks AGG plays have done well all season long on the schedule. And once again, to get to the schedule, we'll just show you where it's at once again. What you do is you go to the Phil Steele Plus. You click on this page here, which is your top page, or the content page. Click on Schedule with Power Ratings Forecasts. Then click here, and this is where you get to here. And here's your records for the year so far. Last week, the AGG went 5-1. It's now 18-6 the last 5 weeks. The Revenge plays 8-5 again last week. Look at that record. 45-20 on the year for the Revenge plays. In the last 4 weeks, AGGs went 9-6. Over the last 5 weeks, they are 42-26. You get a lot of great best bets. The best bets are up here in green. Those are the best bets in each category. We show you what each of the power ratings has on each play. And then after the week, Kevin goes through, and if it's in black, that means it covered. And if it's in red, it did not cover. And then here's your records for the week and your records for the season. If you want to know what each of the categories is, all you have to do is click right here, and I tell you go through every category and how you come upon the play. But that's all in there. So do make sure you check out your schedule plays each week. But this is an official last 4 weeks AGG play. We got that going for us. But as you know, there's always more. So let's go ahead and take a look now at the underdog part of this part of it. And we're going to click on here. We're going to go to the same page that we were just on. You can get the logs for all season long right here, your college logs. So we're going to click on college ATS logs, and we're going to take a look at App State, how they do as an underdog. Now, they don't do well as a favorite. Look at all those L's. But here, as a 19.5-point dog against North Carolina, they covered, almost won the game outright. It lost it in 2 overtimes. And that's a pretty powerful North Carolina team that was ranked at the time. They were an underdog at Wyoming, and in that game, I'll show you in a minute, they outgained Wyoming something severely, but somehow only lost the game by 3 as a 3-point dog. That's their push. Here they were a dog against Georgia State. They went outright 42-14, and they took on a powerful James Madison on the road and came out with a win as a 9.5-point dog. So you make App State a dog, and they're dangerous. That's one thing we got going for us. I'll show you once again. If we go look at that App State-Wyoming game, App State had a 27-7 first down edge, 417 to 208 yard edge. Remember, you got half times right here. They led 12-7 at the half with a 256, 297 yard edge. And if you want to go through the play-by-play the entire game, we've got the box scores on each and every game. I go through the play-by-play of every game every week. You could just go right through and see exactly how the game was played. I won't take up too much of your time, but App State dominated the game, somehow lost. But look at that, 19.5-point dog. Dog here won outright by 28 and beat a powerful James Madison. So we do well as a dog. We got the last 4 weeks going for us. And then if you want to take a look at how they do in the series, let's click right here. If you click on the opponent, the last 26 years matchups pops up. Look at this. App State has won the last 5 meetings with Troy straight up. Once again, in this, it gives you the average game grade, but it shows you, first of all, how the home team does. If the home team says win, that means the home team won the game outright. If the home team is in green, that means the home team covered. So as you see, the visitors actually 3-1 against the spread, which is what App is this week. That's what this stands for here. Then over-under is self-explanatory. Over here, if it is green, that means the team won the game. So App State's won the last 5 games straight up. If it's green here, that means they covered. You don't have to do any math. It's all done for you. And even though they didn't cover this game, they would have covered if they were a dog. So winning the last 5 in a row, that's a good thing. You got the last 4 weeks going for you. It is the last 4 weeks AGG game of the week, and it is App State +6 over Troy. And that game is, of course, Saturday for the Sun Belt Championship. That is your one official selection. So if you're keeping track of the records at home, records are 26-12 the last 8 weeks for these selections. That's your one official selection for the week. Now, the quick hitters are 17-13 the last 7 weeks. Not doing quite as well, but we got 2 good quick hitters for you. Hopefully we'll have a nice 2-0 week for you this week. We got Washington is playing Oregon. I'm going to put Oregon on the right, Washington on the left. There is no home team for this game. It's at a neutral site in Vegas, and the crowd should be fairly evenly split. I think both teams have come well represented here. Now, Oregon is number 1 in my AGG. They've been there for weeks. I've showed you that for weeks. They are a complete team. Look at this. Running the football, 5.8 yards per carry, almost 200 yards per game. Throwing the football, Bo Nix, almost 80%, 37 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Those numbers are superior to Michael Penix's numbers of 32, 8, and 65%. Those numbers are superior to their rush numbers. Look at the last 3 weeks, 3.8, 4.4, 3.4. Defense is a massive edge. You got 76 yards per game. They hold opponents below their season average. Washington is 4. They're basically an average team here on defense. In Pac-12 play, Oregon is plus 212 yards per game. Use this. I use it all the time. Very important. It weeds out the non-conference games, but Oregon is plus 212 yards per game. Washington is minus 5. Washington each week. We used Washington State last week on the tour, remember? And I pointed out that Washington had won a game by more than 7. They are struggling every single week. They are being outgained in Pac-12 play, and yet they are undefeated. You wonder why an undefeated team is a 9.5-point dog? Those would be some pretty good reasons. Now, in their first meeting when these two teams met, Oregon actually had a 32-24 first down edge and a 541-415 yard edge, and that was at Washington. This game's at a neutral site. And look at the last 4 weeks. Oregon, 129.5 to 112. That says Oregon right there by 17.3. We got a lot of good things going for us here. We're taking Oregon minus 9.5 over Washington. Now, this is one of the last big tours. I'll have some bowl tours up for you. But one thing I want to do for you guys, I can't thank you enough. It's been a great year for the tour. I think we've doubled the viewers this year over what we had last year, so I can't thank each and every one of you for taking the tour with me each week. And I want to give you a special on Inside the Press Box for the postseason. The postseason of Inside the Press Box, you get 6 different bowl issues, $20 a piece. There's 42 bowl games, 43 bowl games. You get 4 NFL playoff issues. That takes you from the very first wild card playoff game all the way through the Super Bowl. And it also, of course, includes Phil Steele Plus through the Super Bowl. That means college, Phil Steele Plus, FCS, Phil Steele Plus, NFL, Phil Steele Plus. We're still selling Phil Steele Plus for $99. But if you sign up for PressBox, postseason, college, and pro, it's a $200 value. You get 10 different issues. It's regular $89. Because you guys take the tour with me each week, just $69. Just go to the website, philsteele.com, click on the store. When you go there, it'll be up, the postseason press box, and type in "Thank You Tour," and you'll get it for just $69, a $20 savings. Not only will you get 10 issues of Inside the Press Box, but you get to use college Phil Steele Plus, all postseason included. So it's just $69. Just go there right now. Thank You Tour is your tour number. Now let's go to your second quick hitter, and we take a look at Boise State, and they are taking on UNLV. Now Boise State's on the road for this. I think when you turn it on, guys, and watch the crowd, it's going to be about split. Boise always travels well to Vegas. Vegas doesn't have a huge home crowd edge as it is. It's the Raiders Stadium. I think Boise will have about pretty much a split crowd. So I'm not giving much of a home field edge here to UNLV for this one. And the one I want to point out, I give you the last 4 weeks here, which is pretty even for the two teams. But I want to take a look at the last 3 weeks. Remember that aberration play we used a couple of weeks ago? Which one? This one we're just taking out the 4 weeks ago game. Boise played to a 92 level here. They played to a 116 level. But let's just look at how they're doing in the last 3 weeks. And in the last 3 weeks, if you just add these three together and divide by 3, Boise State is playing to a 107.8 level. UNLV is playing to a 101.7 level. And here's the other thing I want to point out. This season, when you look at Boise running backs, they've got two dynamic running backs. Ashton Genty is one of the best running backs in the country. But look at this. He missed a couple of games. He wasn't 100% here. Guess what? He's back and healthy and had 107 yards. Now, George Holani's had a banged-up career. And look at this. He missed 6 games during the season. He wasn't 100% in the opener. But then when Genty went to the sidelines, Holani got healthy. 95, 178, 52. Guess what? They're both fully healthy here. So you have two really dynamic running backs. It is one of the most underrated running back combos in the country. Gente and Holani, plus throw in Taylon Green, their mobile running quarterback. Now, Green, as you can see, has 344 yards rushing this year. Then I want to take a look at some red over here. Look at this. Now, playing Air Force, you're going to give up yardage, but 344 yards, 5.5. I mean, that's the same Air Force team that they held to 206 yards, 4.6. And then San Jose State last week, 233 yards rushing. Once again, Boise held them to 104. So you're looking at a rush defense that's fading against an excellent run team in Boise State. I like that matchup. Then you look defensively. UNLV this year is allowing opponents 26 yards above their season average. Meanwhile, Boise's holding opponents to 6 yards below their season average. 34 if you count the last 4 weeks. And if you count the last 3 weeks, what is that? 176, 206. So you're looking at almost 206, 210. That'd be about 70 yards per game. Practically, they're holding tough opponents the last 3 weeks. So this is a Boise State team that's playing well. And then let's take a look at the series. Boise State and UNLV. Click on that. Boise has not only won all 5 games in this series, they've won by 25, 17, 28, 25, and 27. Closest one is 17 points. Boise's only laying 2.5 here, so they basically just have to win the game. Your second quick hitter is Boise State. So your official selection, App State. Your 2 quick hitters, Oregon and Boise. All right, we do have a FCS selection for you. And by the way, this week's Inside the Press Box newsletter, if you do purchase it, it's $20. If you get it free because you purchased it last week, you'll get all 8 FCS games, including a best bet. There's a really strong best bet in there that Chris really likes. You know how he did on his Ivy League plays, right? He doesn't have an Ivy one in there, but he's got a really strong best bet that he really likes. You might want to check that out. But let's take a look at this matchup. And I do want to remind you, we have NFL, and I keep mentioning that I don't do the NFL a lot. Maybe I'll have an NFL one for you next week with the Army-Navy. In fact, next week, I tell you what, guys, I will have an NFL play for you next week. We'll actually study the games next week, come up with a play for you. But as you could tell, you get the AGG, you get everything during the season. If you want to click on an opponent, here the Browns are playing the Rams. You can see how they've done on their opponent. Back into that. If you want individual player leaders, they're all up there. As you can tell, it's been a tough year for the Browns. They lost Watson for the season. They lost Nick Chubb for the season. So they lost plenty of top weapons. But anyway, that's all updated. I'll have more on the NFL on next week's tour when we talk about the Army-Navy game. But let's take a look at the FCS. Here's FCS. And here is FCS. And in the FCS, we're going to take a look at Southern Illinois and put them on the left because they are the visitor, and we're going to put Idaho on the right. Now, Idaho used to be in the magazine, and I love the Kibbe Dome. Look at this picture. You can see the end zone right here. There is no give. You get 10 yards in the end zone, boom, there's a wall. It is the short end zone. It's a different field. And that gives Idaho a nice home field edge because teams don't normally play there. They're not used to playing in the Kibbe Dome. Meanwhile, Idaho is. Look how Idaho's done at the Kibbe Dome this year. They beat a really good Montana State team, 24-21. They beat a really good Sacramento State team, 36-27 this year. On the road, let's take a look at Southern Illinois, the Salukis. And you can see that on the road this year, they got buried by North Dakota State in their last road game. Got outgained 449-206. Now, Western Illinois is not very good. Murray State's not very good. But another good team they played was Youngstown State. They got beat on the road 31-3. And look at this, 100 yards offense. So they faced two good teams in the FCS on the road, and they average about 150 yards per game. They average 10 first downs per game. The only other good team they played on the road, Northern Illinois. Now, they beat Northern Illinois. Still scratching my head how. They were out first down 18-12, outgained 360-219, +3 in turnovers help. But look at this. They gained 219, 100, and 206 in games on the road against good teams. This just in, Idaho's a good team with a good defense. They're only allowing 293 yards per game on the ground this year. They're holding opponents to 85 yards per game below their season average. If you look at Southern Illinois, their offense is actually minus 31 yards against what opponents average. So we've established the fact they are poor on the road. They are good at home. We have a strong defense, especially at home. They have a poor offense, especially on the road. And Idaho is minus 6.5 in this game. And then let's take a look at how these teams have done spread-wise this year. And once again, they will give you two things. Here's the last 6 years' logs. So if you want to go back and look how teams have done in the past, it's right there. But if you want to go and take a look at how teams have done over the in FCS, all we have to do is click once again here, and we are going to go to the page. We'll get there in a sec. Oh, guess what? We just had the power go out, so our server just went down. But there are FCS logs. And if I showed you the FCS logs here, it would show that Idaho is 7-3 against the spread against FCS teams this year, and Southern Illinois is 2-8 against the spread against FCS teams. So we've got a strong team spread-wise versus a weak one. The defense, by the way, for Idaho this year, Idaho, if we take a look at them, they are... If you take a look at at home, they are holding opponents to 115 yards below their season average. And meanwhile, Southern Illinois is on the road minus 66 yards per game season average. So add it all up, we like Idaho minus 6.5 over Southern Illinois. There you go, 4 free plays for this week. There's only 10 games. Enjoy your championship weekend. Should be a lot of fun this week. And once again, I can't thank you guys enough for taking the tour with me all season long. I will have the tour up for you again next week. I'll have the Army-Navy game. I'll have some NFL stuff for you. Should be up for you by next Thursday. And thank you for taking the Phil Steele Plus tour with selections with me this week.